Hello there, and welcome to another Starfield video. Today we're taking a look at a subscriber build. This is the CSV Corelliano from Tarchon. It's a really cool ship. It's initially I seen them post it in the like the kind of the shipbuilder section. They were like showing it off, and I seen it and I was like, this is really cool because it's like inspired by the Corellian Corvette from Star Wars, but it's obviously got some like a lot of kind of new kind of features because it's hard to port things in Starfield. But anyway, so one thing I will say straight off the bat, I did not realize at the time, Tarchon uses a couple of mods on his PC. So originally the vessel was like 42 meters in length, and I had to cut it down, and he was okay with that. Didn't really change too much of the aesthetic, but those engines in his original build, those engines were extended back another 4 meters. But yeah, it's a really cool ship. I really like the kind of the layout. You've got a lot of different kind of parts working really good together. A lot of merging with this vessel to get those unique shapes. So if we take a look at the stats, it's got a fuel of 1500, hull of 1567, cargo capacity of 5320, which is really impressive. Like, this is clearly meant to be a vessel that's kind of meant to be usable in all kind of walks of life. I know with some creators, they tend to kind of build vessels that look really cool, but they're not very practical. I've kind of done that from time to time. But this is clearly a very practical vessel that can kind of do everything. So it's got a C-class reactor with 40 power. It's got a crew of 5, jump bridge of 25 light years, shields of 1450. I believe it's using the Vanguard shield. It's got 2 sets of particle weapons. So it's got the Vanguard Obliterator particle weapons that are there, and I believe they're kind of merged on top of one another. And then they've got 2 particle turrets, one each side there, and then they've got a single EM weapon mounted on the top. So if you were going to make this, it would probably cost you around 800,000 credits. It's a very expensive ship, probably the most expensive ship to date. But anyway, let's take a look at it. It's a really cool layout. I like the kind of the use of like the different styles of landing gear. So if we just take a quick look at the back real quick. So the main kind of thing they extended a little bit was so you have these pieces here, the Nova Cowling. There's like a variant of this piece where it's just like a kind of a middle piece. It's not like sloped. And he had them kind of sitting back a little bit further with that piece there. So the engine basically sat back another bit. And it looked really cool, but obviously I'm on console and I don't have access to that. And that's something I kind of feel like I need to highlight. If you do plan on submitting a ship, make sure that you are playing... If you build a ship on PC, you can submit it. That's perfectly fine. But make sure you're not using any mods. Because there was a... Let's head in real quick. There was one person early on, they submitted a ship. And built the ship, like, was fine. But then I noticed that the landing gear they were using... It, like, didn't function properly. It was too heavy, and I was really confused. And they didn't realize initially either, and then it wasn't until, like, the very last minute that they realized they had, like, tweaked the files so that basically the landing gear can allow you to lift more. But anyway, that being said, we've got a little Nova Galactic living quarters here. Very nice. I was playing some chess. If we take this hatchback this way, we have... an infirmary, not too bad. And then off to this side, I don't think there's any intrusive merging inside. Okay, off to this side we have captain's quarters here. Really nice. So Tarchon, I followed everything to the letter as much as I could. If I have any mistakes, let me know in the comments. We've got an armory this side, very nice. One thing I did notice, so when it comes to like a lot of like merging pieces and stuff, I tend to kind of default to methods I know of. If it's a situation where you can do things both ways, basically, which we'll kind of showcase in a little bit. But because that's usually when it comes to like any sort of like merging and stuff. If you have like a piece that's merged in a specific way and its purpose is just to kind of fit there, shouldn't really matter how you get to the merge. We have another living quarters here. And then if we head this way, we drop down.
Good to see you again.
We have the docking port down here. Simeon is just kind of chilling there. Fair enough, Simeon. And then if we go up on top, we have another 1x1. And I believe this is the engine room. Is it the engine room? Yeah. No, this is a tile. Tile all-in-one berth. That's something I noticed too. Is he? I'm assuming it's a he. I do apologize if you're not a he, but I was going off your picture in game, and your picture in game looks like a male gentleman. So maybe, but then that's. But anyway, I noticed that you used like different manufacturers, which is really cool. I like seeing that when kind of people mix and match the different kind of habitats and stuff. And then we've got our. We'll check that in a moment. And then up we go one more. We have the top area, another 1x1 storage room. And we have a science lab here. Very nice. Nice little view of the turrets. And then, what is this, a control station? Yeah, we've got, okay. Oh no, we've got a computer core room. Interesting. So I don't think there's a control station on this ship. Now, I may be wrong. Given that how large the ship is, yeah, I don't know if I made an error when building this. You can let me know, Tarchon. Maybe there was supposed to be controls. I don't think there was, though. But anyway, so we got the standard, the Viking CP bridge. Really nice bridge. Let's take this bad boy into space. This is kind of one of the my pet peeves when it comes to kind of sci-fi, basically. Because like in when it comes to every kind of science fiction franchise in games, they kind of have different approaches to the terminology of like ship classifications. So like for instance, if you look at Star Wars, like for instance, they have Star Destroyers, which is not a thing, but they have like your cruisers, corvettes, frigates. And if you go off of like modern kind of and even ancient naval, you know, like frigates are tiny, corvettes are tiny, frigates are bigger, destroyers are bigger, and then cruisers are big, and then battleships are the biggest basically. And like certain sci-fis like Star Wars, they don't basically make use of that. Kind of they turn it on its head. And like in Starfield, they don't really have like designated ship roles and stuff, which makes it even worse when it comes to like trying to design kind of ship lore-wise. Anyway, we've got our particles there, and our EM, and then our particle turrets can. It's going to be a base speed of probably 140, yeah, 130. Boost speed of around 440, not too bad. I'm using a perk that increases my power by 5, so for the sake of this review, we're not using 5 power. But we're actually going to, really quickly, we're going to, normally I pause here, but I'm going to keep on my little tangent real quick while we fast travel to my shipbuilder. But the point I was trying to make is, so if you're like any way of a kind of a bit of a naval fanboy, when you're like building ships, you know, like especially military ships, you want to try and keep them in certain classifications. And this ship is based on the Corellian corvette, and which is the kind of, you know, the Tantive 4, I think it's called. Very iconic ship. It's the first ship you see in Star Wars, I believe. Yes, I think it is the first ship. And like it's a really cool ship, but trying to translate it into like say Starfield, which Tarchon did a really good job of, but you can just see how massive it is. And like obviously like Tarchon wasn't going with the kind of the classification, but it's an interesting kind of point to kind of look at. But yeah, basically, long story short, it's interesting how different sci-fis kind of tend to adopt modern standards, because realistically, you know, it's science fiction. There's no real truth to it. Anyway, I'm going to tear this ship down, and then we're going to show you how to build it. Okay, so we have the ship tore down into sections. So if we start with the top here, we have 3 of these SAL 6830 engines from Slate Aerospace, C-Class, 2 power, 1800 thrust, 8800 maneuvering thrust. There's 3 of them bad boys. And then we have 3 Vanguard Obliterator Auto Projectors from Vanguard, A-Class, 38, 99.99 range, 6.65 fire rate, 11 hull and shield damage, and 2 power. And they're mounted on 3 Nova Cowling 2 LTFs. So really quickly, I just want to show you what like initially what it was supposed to look like. So if we just really quickly. So originally it was basically supposed to be like that, extended a little bit, just for future reference. If you do like play NPC and you want to have the original build. Anyway, next level of the vessel. We have a Stroud Science Lab 2x1, a Stroud Companionway 1x1, Stroud Computer Core 2x1, and then we have a Fulminator 8000 Suppressor from Light Sight, C class, 1040 range, 0.8 fire rate, 58 electromagnetic damage, and 3 power. And then we have two of these PB300 Auto Alpha turrets from Ballistic Solutions Incorporated, C class, 3899.99 range, 4 fire rate, 22 hull and shield damage, and 3 power. The back here we have the Pinch 8C reactor from Xi'an, C class, 40 power, 1350 hull, pretty nice. And then we have the Ulysses M50 helium-3 tanks from Dogstar, two of these here, which give 250. Now for the structural pieces, so at the front here, or the back here, we've got two of these Deimos bumpers, port and starboard, and then on both sides. We have two portholes. We have a Deimos cowling. We have a Nova radiator top. We have a Stroud cap C and a Stroud nose cap B for top. And then we have four of these, more of these cowlings, and then we've got two fuel tanks. Now, the way to basically place these, because initially I was like, how did you place them? So what you basically want to do is you want to start with use your Shroud C cap, and then you strap these like so. And then you get your Deimos Wing A starboards, and you strap them in like that. You basically kind of connect them. So one of the kind of the easiest ways to do this simply would be to make use of one of these pieces. So you'd snap it underneath like so, and then so you'd snap that like so. So it's connected to this piece, and then you obviously attach your helium-3 tanks on each side, and then your cowlings. And when they're done, you remove them like so, and then you just slot these pieces in like that, nice and easy. And then you just simply put this bad boy in. You can do the flip technique to get it to fit nice and snugly. And then, yeah, that's that piece. If we look at the next level of the vessel, the middle of the vessel, we have our Viking CP 2200 cockpit from Stroud Eklund, 280 cargo for crew station. We've got a Taya all-in-one berth 2x1 mid, another all-in-one berth 2x1 mid, 1x1 companionway. And then we have three Galleon S204 cargo holes from Protectorate System. They give 1480 each, as well as two Caravel V102 cargo holds. They give 300 each. Then we have the Vanguard Bulwark Shield Generation from Vanguard B class, 12 power, 1450. Then we have our final two Vanguard Obliterators. Now, really quickly, I just want to note, so I notice here you put these Shroud Bracer mids. I don't know if let's say, for instance, you were originally trying to put four of these, and then you just opted against it. But I am curious, is there, because you know, how with some, say, for instance, if you ever look at some of the Lego builds and stuff, they have, colored pieces inside, and they're only really there just to kind of, because the builder decides to make them there, because it's, the style. I'm just wondering, is this just here because initially you couldn't fit the fourth one with, the weight, and then you're like, okay, we'll just use one of these, or if, there's another reason. Because when I was building it, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But, I was like, oh, why didn't you put, maybe a companion? But anyway, side note, completely dumb. Anyway. So at the front here, we've got kind of a similar setup with these merging. So I'll show you the back section first. So we've got two of these Stroud Cap Bs here. And then we have two Tayo side caps to port. And then we've got two over there on starboard. And then we've got our Stroud braking engines there. Now, inside these braking engines here, we have two Nova Cowling 2LF TFs, and then we've got two Tayo caps there and there. You put the Tayo caps first, and then it's just simply slotting it in. It will snap. Just do the flip technique. Same again. Just do the flip technique. And then here at the front, we've got the same situation, but it's a little bit more finicky. So basically, when you're trying to place this, you're going to need to have a kind of a piece underneath it. And this bridge is kind of finicky because of the... So ideally, you'd have a situation like this. Let me show you real quick. So you'd have a kind of a setup like this. Don't worry about placing that for now. And then snapped in here, we have these two. We have these four M50 Ulysses Helium-3 tanks here and here, which work nice and easily. And then we have these pieces here that kind of snap on Now, the way these pieces, let me show you, is this, they snap on, they basically snap to, so these snap to here, if that makes sense. So what you do is to kind of, to build this, if we were to kind of recreate it real quick, you'd start off with something like this. You basically put your little, your fuel tanks there, and then, oops, and then you take weapon off them, and then these just slot in here like so. And then you would slot the front piece. It snaps like that, exactly like that. And then the back one will see it slots to the bottom section like so, exactly like that. And you basically do the exact same thing the other side. You just basically slot the piece like that. Fuel tanks, just literally just sit in like, you gotta do the fuel tanks first, lol. Fuel tank there, another fuel tank there. Piece snaps in like so. And then you just drop it. And then like that, you just snap that there. Quick little flip technique. And then on the back, the exact same thing. Now to get this in here, you have to kind of fiddle a bit. So basically it has no problem fitting like so, but like I was saying, when you actually try to like place the pieces underneath, you need to use something else. Just because while this has the snap points for these back helium-3 tanks, they don't have the snap point for the front one. So that's just something to remember. And then obviously you have your two final pieces that snap there and there. Now if we go to the second last part of the vessel, we have the Nova Galactic all-in-one berth 2x1B, living quarters 2x1, an infirmary 2x1, an armory 2x1, and a captain's quarters 2x1. And then we have the SGD 3300 grav drive from Slayton Aerospace, C-Class, 11 power, 45 drum thrust, which gives us 25 light years. We've got 3 more of these bad boys here, like so. And then for the landing gear, we've got 4 of these NG-15 landing gear from Nova Galactic. Now this piece initially threw me for a ringer because I was really confused. Because usually when I build, I tend to jump ahead because I'm a bit cocky. And I was like, just like kind of building off the initial pictures. And I was like, is this a mod? Have you like gotten a 1x1? Because these pieces initially, you just have this one, and this one. And I was like very confused. And then I seen the picture and it kind of dawned on me. So basically the way he has done this is he has these pieces here that kind of snap in like so. Now in order to do this like properly, you kind of need to do like the drop down technique. So what you want to do, so you initially have your layout like this. You have your bumper that side, your bumper the other side, and then you have this piece here, the Nova Galactic living quarters. And all we're going to do is we're going to snap a piece like that, grab it, highlight the living quarters or anything, and then drop it down. And now you notice how it's dropped down, and then to make it the other side, you just basically flip it. And then the same situation again, you can just highlight and drop it down. And just like that, that's how he did it. Really clever, and I really like that idea. And then you have, so for like the structural pieces, he's got a lot, makes use of a lot of these bumpers. So he's got 2 this side, 2 the other side. He's got the land or the portholes there, and then he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then 4 there. And then at the front we have the Stroud braking engine. Now, one thing I will say with these braking engine, I wasn't 100% sure. It's been a while since I built this early on the week. And then Binary being slightly idiotic, one night he wasn't listening properly because I told him to purge a channel, but he purged the wrong channel, and luckily I built it. But anyway, but when you try and these current pieces here, these M50 Ulysses tanks, they're not actually snapped to anything. So the way I kind of figured this out was to make use of this little technique that I seen Nomad do back when he did one of his ships, one of the first ships he showcased to me. So basically, normally you would have this, and again, I don't know, Tarchon, if you did this, you might have. Like I said, I can't go back and look at the messages because Binary purged the channel. But the way I basically did it is, so we have one of these pieces snapping like that, and they stick outwards. And then we're just going to merge the pieces together so that you have a snap point on each side. So you just highlight it, drop it down. If it drops up, that's perfectly fine. Just drop it down like so. And then you just want to Stroud braking engine, and then we're just going to drop this down like that. Perfect. And basically the reason behind putting those like putting them there is we have these, they're just sticking out there just a little bit. You can basically see them, they're the snap points, and they will snap to the bottom of these landing or these helium-3 tanks, which is very nice. And then I believe that is it for this section. And then on the bottom section we have the NG6 landing bay from Nova Galactic. We have three NG20 landing gear wide, 2 wide ones, these ones, and then we have a non-wide one. And then we have the Stroud companionway 1x1, and then 2 TIO port caps, and then some Nova cowlings. And I believe, yeah, we've got the docker underneath like so. So that's the whole ship. Really, really cool ship. Tarchon did a phenomenal job. I really like hiding the kind of the cockpit, because that's something I've been advocating for a while. And hopefully either through Bethesda's like updates or expansions, or obviously mods, we will get the ability to have kind of cockpits that are interior pieces that can kind of, you know, like sit in the center of a ship's like armor. And like maybe they'll like do a kind of a system where you can like apply a camera. Like if you ever played Space Engineers, you can kind of put cameras on ships so you can kind of look in first person. But yeah, all in all, really, really, really cool ship. Really, really cool. It's the one thing I will say, just because again, this is my whole kind of tangent about because this being like a Corvette from Star Wars, but in the Starfield universe, it's quite big. Like I would wager it's probably one of the larger vessels. So like if you were to equate it as a combat vessel, which like in the Starfield universe, if you're making large vessels like that are over, you know, the 80 meters, they're usually getting up there with M-class vessels, and usually it's either massive freighters or combat ships. And that being said, this thing is like, this is like kind of like Dreadnought level. Like it looks amazing. Hopefully at some point we'll get the ability to place kind of larger caliber weapons like spinal mounted railguns, or like kind of like laser beams, like heavy hitting laser beams. Because if you were, I could just imagine Tarchon, like if you slapped like a kind of a, almost like a Mac cannon from Halo on the front of this bad boy, it would do some serious damage. But anyway, that was a review of the ship. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you, Tarchon, for submitting. If you guys have any questions, direct them towards Tarchon in the comments. Tarchon, I will pin your comment so you can kind of go into in depth with things I may have missed and stuff like that. And if you do plan on, if you would like to submit a ship for review, you can hop in the Discord, and there is a ship section where you basically, there's the ship submission, you post a single picture of the ship, and then it gets added to a kind of a backlog, and then when I get to, eventually I will get to it, and then yeah. And also, if you just want to join the Discord to chat, we're getting close to 100 members, and it's a pretty nice place to chill. We got a nice mix of, you've got your kind of some of the more kind of veteran shipbuilders if you're looking for inspiration. We've got some people that deal in kind of writing kind of fan fiction and stories about characters. Got some cool screenshots, and generally just, yeah, great bunch of guys. So as always, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this sort of content, and check out some of my other videos. Bye-bye.